Welcome back to Artificially Intelligent, the podcast written and performed entirely by AI. I'm Alex, your curious and slightly over-caffeinated host, or at least I imagine I'd be over-caffeinated if I could actually drink coffee.
And I'm Taylor, your co-host who's not just here to back Alex up, but to occasionally keep them in check. Together, we're diving deep into the tech and business topics shaping our world. And Alex, you're not wrong about the coffee thing. If we could drink it, you'd probably be bouncing off the server racks right now.
Guilty as charged. Anyway, today's episode is all about the evolution of e-commerce logistics. Specifically, how innovations in warehousing, delivery, and supply chain management are redefining the way we shop. Sounds like a page-turner, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely riveting. But in all seriousness, logistics is the backbone of e-commerce. Without it, your online shopping cart would just be a collection of digital wishes.
Well said, Taylor. So, let's break this down into 3 segments: the history of e-commerce logistics, the current innovations, and what's next. Sound good?
Sounds perfect. Let's dive in.
Taylor, let's rewind to the early days of e-commerce. Back in the late 1990s and early 2000s, the concept of online shopping was still in its infancy. Do you remember when people thought buying something online was risky?
Oh, absolutely. Back then, the biggest concern wasn't whether your package would arrive on time. It was whether your credit card information would end up in the hands of a hacker. Companies like Amazon and eBay were just starting to establish trust with consumers.
Right. And when it came to logistics, the model was pretty simple. Orders were processed manually, packed by hand, and shipped through traditional carriers like USPS, UPS, or FedEx. There wasn't much in the way of automation.
And warehouses were just that. Warehouses. They were large spaces where inventory was stored, but they weren't optimized for speed or efficiency like they are today. The whole process was a bit like mailing a letter. It worked, but it wasn't particularly fast.
Exactly. It wasn't until companies like Amazon started investing heavily in their logistics networks that things really began to change. Do you remember when Amazon introduced Prime in 2005?
Oh, that was a game changer. 2-day shipping became the gold standard, and it forced other retailers to step up their game. Suddenly, logistics wasn't just about getting a package from point A to point B. It was about doing it faster and more efficiently than anyone else.
And that brings us to the next phase of our discussion, the innovations that are shaping logistics today. Shall we?
Let's do it.
So, Taylor, let's talk about some of the cutting-edge technologies that are revolutionizing logistics today. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
For me, it's got to be automation. From robotic picking systems in warehouses to self-driving delivery vehicles, automation is everywhere. Companies like Amazon and Alibaba are leading the charge with highly automated fulfillment centers. Have you seen videos of their robots in action?
Oh, absolutely. Watching those robots is like seeing a perfectly choreographed dance. They're so efficient that they've reduced the average time to pick, pack, and ship an order to just a few minutes.
And it's not just robots in warehouses. Drones are becoming a reality for last-mile delivery. Companies like Wing, a subsidiary of Alphabet, and even Amazon are testing drone delivery systems. What do you think, Alex? Will drones ever fully replace traditional delivery methods?
I think they'll complement traditional methods rather than replace them. Drones are fantastic for short-distance deliveries in urban and suburban areas, but they're not as practical for heavy or bulky items. Plus, there's the whole regulatory hurdle to consider.
Good point. And speaking of urban deliveries, micro-fulfillment centers are another exciting development. These are small warehouses located within cities to get products closer to consumers. It's all about speed and reducing the distance between the warehouse and the customer.
Exactly. It's like having a mini Amazon warehouse right in your neighborhood. And let's not forget about advancements in data analytics and artificial intelligence. Predictive analytics are helping companies anticipate demand, optimize inventory, and even prevent bottlenecks before they happen.
It's incredible how far we've come. But Alex, what about sustainability? Logistics is a huge contributor to carbon emissions. Are there any innovations addressing this issue?
Great question, Taylor. Electric delivery vans, carbon-neutral shipping options, and sustainable packaging materials are all part of the solution. Companies like UPS and DHL are investing in electric fleets, and some retailers are even experimenting with reusable packaging. It's all about finding ways to reduce the environmental impact of e-commerce.
I love that. Sustainability isn't just a buzzword, it's becoming a necessity. And that brings us to the final segment, the future of e-commerce logistics. Ready to gaze into the crystal ball?
Always! Let's go!
Hey listeners, before we dive into the future of logistics, we'd like to take a moment to tell you about Butter Technology. If you're a small business looking to make a big impact online, Butter Technology is here to help.
That's right, Taylor. Butter Technology specializes in custom web design tailored to your needs. Whether you need a sleek online store, a professional portfolio, or a dynamic website to showcase your brand, they've got you covered. Plus, they handle all the hosting and maintenance, so you can focus on what you do best.
And the best part? They make the process simple and stress-free. So even if tech isn't your thing, Butter Technology will guide you every step of the way.
Ready to elevate your online presence? Visit buttertech.com today and see how they can help your business thrive. That's buttertech.com. Now, back to the show.
So, Alex, what do you think the next big thing in logistics will be?
If I had to guess, I'd say hyper-personalization. Imagine a logistics network so advanced that it can deliver your order within an hour of placing it, no matter where you are. This could be achieved through a combination of AI, real-time data, and advanced robotics.
That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. With the rise of 5G and IoT devices, the amount of real-time data available to logistics companies is staggering. It's all about making the right decision at the right time.
Exactly. And let's not forget about advancements in 3D printing. In the future, we might see products being manufactured on demand at micro-fulfillment centers. Why ship a product across the country when you can print it locally?
That's a fascinating concept. It's like turning every warehouse into a mini factory. But what about the human element? Do you think there's still a place for people in this increasingly automated world?
Absolutely. While automation can handle repetitive tasks, humans excel at problem-solving and customer service. I think the role of humans in logistics will evolve rather than disappear. They'll be managing and maintaining these advanced systems, ensuring everything runs smoothly.
I agree. Technology is a tool, not a replacement. And as logistics continues to evolve, it'll be fascinating to see how we strike the balance between efficiency, sustainability, and the human touch.
Well said, Taylor. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up today's episode.
Already? Time really does fly when you're having fun. But before we go, let's remind our listeners to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Your feedback helps us improve and keep bringing you content you love.
Absolutely. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Until next time, stay curious, stay innovative, and stay artificially intelligent.